So, Father, take us back to the exact moment you first felt the calling. What was happening in your life, and what did that feeling actually feel like?
Yes, when I finished my high school, I went to Bangalore for college studies. I think I had a very good time. I was enjoying myself, and my ambition at that time was law. I decided I would like to become a lawyer. But then something within me began to say, or rather it was a feeling, that there was no real joy. And even if there was joy, it was just, short-lived. Nothing that was deep within me. And then I said to myself, I need to do something that will make me really happy. All these joys that I was enjoying was very short-lived. Now, what was the thing within me? It was a feeling of dissatisfaction. Normally people think when God calls you, it's something bright. In my case, it was a feeling of total dissatisfaction with whatever was happening around me. I wanted something different, something lasting. That was my call.
People assume priests are always strong. Were there moments you doubted your path or wanted to quit? What pulled you back?
Your question is very beautiful because it presumes that priests are not always strong. And I think that's a very, very good evaluation. You have to realize that priests are not like God. They have their own weaknesses. And because of those weaknesses, they are human. It makes them more human. And yes, being human, sometimes we begin to doubt. In my case, personally, I think most of the time doubts came because of the people I live around with. I'm not talking about the lay people, you'll be shocked. I'm talking about my own fellow priests. There's so much of tussle among us sometimes. And that tussle comes from nothing spiritual. If it was spiritual, I would say fine. But that tussle comes mostly from differences in egos. I have a very powerful ego, someone else has an equally powerful ego, and there is a clash. And then I begin to say, I forget that it's the ego clash, and I think it is something to do with religion, something to do with spirituality. And then I doubt and I say, am I really cut out to be a priest? Should I continue being a priest? What can I do as a priest? What is the next step I need to do? It's at that time I start pondering. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite and say, I go and pray. No, I don't. Because when I pray, then I begin to hear myself talking. Not God talking to me. I hear myself talking to myself. And I think that that is the right thing. But what I do with myself is, I sit down very quietly. Maybe over a cup of tea. Maybe in olden days I used to have my pipe or a cigar. I would sit down, smoke, relax. And at the end of it, I would come to some sort of an understanding. And that understanding would tell me, this is a passing phase. This is a clash of two personalities. It has got nothing to do with my priesthood. My priesthood is with the people, not so much with my fellow priests. And that is what I think has helped me always to keep going. Because I begin to understand with myself that I am a priest to serve the people of God. Not for their respect, not for their honor, not for anything else, but to serve them. And that is what keeps me going.
Today's youth live on phones, reels, and instant dopamine. How does someone ever hear God's voice in all of this noise?
Again, I'm very surprised at your question. Because St. Ignatius of Loyola tells us very clearly, where there is noise, there is no God. God comes to us in quiet. It's like a drop of water falling on a sponge. You don't even realize what is happening. Noise is when a drop of water falls on rock. What happens? There is a splash. Alright? God does not exist in noise. Now yes, to me, I think one of the biggest problems in this world is the best invention that we have, the mobile phone. It's definitely the best invention, but it's also the biggest distraction. It keeps us away not only from God. Many of us, I would be very much as a priest in favor of saying it keeps me away from God. No, it keeps me away from everything else. First of all, in my home, I'm eating with my family. What happens? Everybody's on their mobile. There is no conversation. There's no interaction. Wherever I go, I'm on the mobile. I feel ashamed of myself. I myself am addicted to the mobile. Sometimes I ask myself, why? Why do I need to look at all? I'm not looking at pornography or something bad. No, even simple entertainment. I could have sat down and written something very beautiful. And then I make excuses saying, the books that I want to write are still in my computer. They are not getting completed. Why? Because of the mobile phone. So there are a lot of these inventions, very good. And they are very good inventions. But I need to somehow learn to see. Put in a seed, see them through and say, what is good will remain. What is not good should be discarded. So use all these inventions for your own betterment and for the betterment of the people around you.
If a 20-year-old watching this feels lost, anxious, or addicted to distractions, what would you tell him or her right now, face to face?
The first thing I would say, if you're feeling anxious about what I've said and you're distracted, that's a good thought, good thing that's happening. That means you are thinking. That means you are searching. You are searching for something. And if you have begun searching, then keep searching till you find what you want. Now be very careful. Alone, you can never find the answer. Let me repeat that. Alone, you can never find the answer. You have to look out for someone whom you trust very much. Someone who will not betray you. Someone who is not looking for honor or success, etc., but who will tell you the truth. He will tell you very straight. You need to become a lawyer because you're simply having the gift of speech. Or you need to become a singer because you can sing well. Or in other words, you would say, it looks like, God is calling you to something different. You seem to be dissatisfied with something that you have been enjoying, like happened to me. I was dissatisfied. So you need to share it with somebody else. I call this reflecting. Now, also I am very aware of the fact that there are very, very few people whom you can really trust, whom you can ask, and who will give you an answer which is a genuine answer. So find someone who will give you something that is really truthful and will help you to move ahead.
In your decades of service, what is the single most powerful transformation you've witnessed in a young person?
It's very difficult to answer that question because I'm now 84 years old and I'm almost 60 years a priest, or 55 years a priest, I think. And there have been a lot of incidents in my life that I've come across people who have had major transformations. But the most beautiful thing I think in my life have been when I've encountered people who are facing major decision making. And when they come to me, they come with decisions as though those decisions are problems, issues, and they want me to give them an answer. And most of the time, I don't give answers. That's my way of doing things. I ask questions. They come in with a very long, sorrowful looking face. And by the time they're finished, within say 8 to 10 minutes, that whole facial complexion has changed. There's a total transformation. And then from their eyes and their smile, I begin to realize, yes, it's not me talking, it's someone else who's saying something to them. And that brings about some sort of transformation in them. And when I see the change of face in them, I know now my responsibility is over. God is speaking to them directly. That gives me tremendous joy. So it's not one incident, it happens a number of times.
If someone feels the calling but fears disappointing family or society, what should they do?
Uh, yes, I think today our families, society are not very much in favor of a girl or a boy joining religious life, wanting to become a priest or a nun. And I think there are genuine reasons for that. First and foremostly, there's not very much of religion around. Most of the things that we practice around us are what I would call just devotions. We're not looking at real, genuine religion, genuine faith. Do we really understand what faith is all about? Now, if I think that a boy has got a vocation or a girl has a vocation to the priesthood or the nunnery, I would start asking that person, what makes you think you have a vocation? And once I get the answer from them, I would then give them a feedback and say, now you need to say this to your parents. Because your parents have not understood the concept of what it means to become a priest. And people around are very much dissatisfied with what's happening in the church. We need to be very open about this. People are dissatisfied and they don't want their children to be a part of that. The other thing I would ask them, is it for you something that makes you climb a social ladder? I'm a nobody today. If I become a priest, I'm somebody and everybody's going to respect me. If that's the thing, then don't become a priest. I would say straight away. Alright? So I need to be very, very cautious. I need to be able to speak to the person on a very personal and intimate level. I'm using that word intimate, not giving something from the head. Something very intimate, because a vocation is something which is very intimate. It's between you and God, between you and the people. Are you becoming a priest to serve, or are you becoming a priest because you'll be in authority? And then you need to be able to communicate that to your parents. In olden days, every family wanted a son or a daughter to become a religious. Why? Because it gave us social status. Amche garan padriya. Very good. Today, that's no longer a place for status. So people begin to question. Are there no other better vocations? A doctor, a lawyer, anybody? Couldn't you do better work than becoming a priest? I need to be able to answer that. So what am I going to do as a priest? You answer this and then communicate with your parents, communicate with your neighbors, your friends, your relatives. Once you have got the proper understanding, then they will understand.
What does Wake Up, Stand Up really mean to you? Not as a song, but as a life philosophy for today's generation.
Yes, we all need to somehow be aware of the dearth of vocations. We don't have vocations. And it's very easy for us to blame the youth and say, they don't have the courage to stand up and join religious life. We blame them straight away. But I think it's important for us to look at the whole scenario and to ask yourself a simple question. If you are a youth of, let's say, 15, 16, 17, would you think of becoming a priest? If not, why not? I think that answers the question. Now, it's not only a question of courage. I think many people have got the courage and want to become priests. But what they see around them is not something of a challenge. The youth of today, I think, can be divided into two very distinct compartments. Some who want a very easy life, easygoing life, and that I think is the general trend. But there is another section which wants life which is a real challenge. During the last few days, I've been coming across children who are doing their 12th standard and are putting their heart and soul into their coaching classes because they want to score very high marks in the NEET entrance exams so that they can choose a proper profession. If you want to become a priest or a religious, you don't have an entrance exam. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can just walk in. So there is no challenge. I'm sorry as a priest that I'm saying this. There is absolutely no challenge. Anybody and everybody is accepted. So this song, this idea of standing up is not only asking for vocations, but for me it's more important asking for quality vocations. And those quality vocations don't only come from you now, but once you have joined the seminary or religious life, you have a responsibility to make sure you become one of the best priests around. And what do you mean by best priest? Highly educated, isn't it? No. There are too many highly educated people around. Who is the best priest? Who is a committed priest? Someone who can lend his ear to someone who is in need. Not someone who can give me money. That's also required. Most of the time we ask for money. We don't give. Alright? But what is important? That I give you of my time. A priest is not supposed to be a rich person, but he has got a lot of time. Even his own personal time, he has to be able to share with others. A listening ear, an understanding ear, a ear that does not judge anyone. We listen to people and immediately we judge them. No. And that's where I think when we say stand up for what? Not only to becoming a priest, but stand up for your principles. Principles of giving a listening ear. Principles of realizing that as a priest, you're making a choice. What's the choice? The choice is of becoming a nobody. The other person is more important than you. But that person comes to you believing that God speaks through you. Now the question is, I need to ask myself, does God speak to me? Very often, God speaks through you. God doesn't speak through me. Why? Because I as a priest have forgotten how to pray. While you pray, your prayer may not be the correct one, but you still pray. I don't. I only celebrate the Mass. And even at the Mass, sometimes nobody knows what I'm saying or doing or why. So you see, there is a philosophy here. Stand up. Stand up means my intellect, my mind, my memory, my will, everything has to be put into that. If I can speak about this to younger people and give them a challenge, then yes, more people will want to become priests.